Hi book lovers, welcome back to my channel. I know it's already a week into January, but since I already posted my most anticipated romance sequels of 2021, I had to come and post my most anticipated standalones and new series releasing this year. None of them have released just yet. Some of them are releasing in a couple days. It's gonna be another long list, and like the last video, I'm gonna be talking about them by release month. And before I get into all the January new romances, I have a couple that don't have specific release dates but are supposed to release in 2021. The first one is Real by Kennedy Ryan. This is her upcoming contemporary romance that's supposed to be coming out this spring. It's a Hollywood Renaissance romance. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I guess it's set in Hollywood. I love Kennedy Ryan though. I'll read anything that she writes, so I'm so excited for this one. And then Penelope Douglas, of course, my favorite author. She has a couple books coming out, though I'm not exactly sure which ones they are. I'm pretty sure we're going to be getting Tris Venom this year, which is her FF new adult contemporary romance. We got a little snippet of that book from Nightfall, and she's posted a little bit on her Facebook group, and it just sounds so good already. The other books that I'm hoping are going to be coming out this year are Motel, which is like the spin-off of Birthday Girl, and the first Hellbent book, which is called Fall Boys, and this series is the spin-off series of the Fall Away series, the second generation of that series. I forgot which kid is getting their first book in this spin-off series, but the ones that I'm most excited about are for Hawk, who is Jax's son, the love triangle between the twins, and of course Quinn, who got her own little novella in a previous book. So those are three of Penelope Douglas's like upcoming releases. I don't know when they're supposed to release. She doesn't give release dates really anymore, but I'm just putting them into this video so I can like manifest Penelope Douglas releasing 3 books this year. On to all the January new releases that I am very excited about. The first one is not technically a romance, but it is from one of my favorite authors. It's an urban fantasy book called Blood Heir by Ilona Andrews. It is the first book in the new Aurelia Rider series, which is a spin-off of the Kate Daniel series, one of my all-time favorite urban fantasy series. It is post-apocalyptic. There are shifters, there's magic. For those of you who have read Kate Daniel series, this new series is about Julie, who was Kate and Curran's ward / adopted daughter. I'm pretty sure her romance is gonna be with Derek. I want her to be with Derek, but I'm just so happy we're getting more of the Kate Daniels world from Ilona Andrews. We are getting another MM romance from Sarina and Bowen called Roommate, and of course it's got the roommate trope. One guy needs a roommate to split the rent, the other guy needs a place to stay, so perfect combination. They knew each other back then, back in high school, and one of the heroes is part of the Shipley family from the True North series. A debut romance is coming in January called Shipped by Angie Hockman. This one has the hating game vibes. We have an enemies to lovers office romance. Our 2 main characters are up for the same position, so it's more of a rivals to lovers kind of romance. Whoever writes the best proposal while they're on a cruise to the Galapagos Islands wins that position. It just sounds like a really fun debut. There's also The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon, which is this author's debut adult romance. It's enemies to lovers between public radio co-hosts who create this new show called The X Talk. They get exes onto the show to give some relationship advice, and the main characters themselves pretend to be exes. There's a paranormal romance that I am very intrigued by called Big Bad Wolf by Salika Snyder. This is the first book in a new series, the Third Shift series, which is a dystopian. There's just a lot going on in this blurb. There are shifters, there is the Russian mafia, and then this elite team of operatives that are trying to take down this mafia. So it seems more like a romantic suspense kind of paranormal romance, and I'm just very intrigued. And then the last romance of January is The Heiress Gets a Duke by Harper St. George. This one has a beautiful cover. I'm in love with it, and it's also got the marriage of convenience trope. The hero needs to get married, and he's settled on the heroine's sister. But the heroine is not happy about that. She doesn't want her sister to end up in a loveless marriage, so she does everything she can to break off this marriage. On to all the February new releases. February is my birthday month. There is Much Ado About You by Samantha Young. This one is a small English town romance. The heroine decides to take a little holiday to go stay in this village in England, work at a little bookstore. It sounds very quaint, and the hero is a sexy farmer. Kristen Callihan is releasing a book this year. I'm so happy about it. I love her. This one is called Make It Sweet. This one is kind of a sports romance. The hero is an ex-hockey player and a recluse. The heroine needs to escape for a little bit, and that's when she goes to this estate where the hero is staying. The blurb also mentions that the hero bakes, and that's probably my favorite part of this blurb. A debut that I am so excited for in February is Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This one is an FF romance with the accidentally married in Vegas trope. So now the main character is moving in with her new wife and trying to get to know her in New York City. I have an arc of this, I haven't read it just yet, but I love the accidental marriage kind of romances. There's Makeup and Breakup by Lily Menon. This is the debut adult romance of a YA author. So Lily Menon is also known as Sandia Menon. Here we have a rivals to lovers romance. The main characters both own this sort of dating app, except it's kind of on opposite spectrums. The heroine's app is called Makeup, and that one is supposed to help failing relationships, and the hero's app is called Breakup, which is like an Uber for breakups. And to add on to that rivalry, they are now next door office neighbors. Love at First by Kate Clayborn is also releasing this month. I'm the worst, I still haven't read Love Lettering, but I'm still excited for this book. The hero receives this apartment building as part of his inheritance, and he's trying to get rid of it. But the heroine, who lives in this building and loves the community in this building, doesn't want him to get rid of it. She tries to sabotage him, but they also have these late night conversations on their balconies. I finally read Kate Clayborn for the first time in 2020, so now I just want to read more of her. JT Geissinger has a new release called Ruthless Creatures. The blurb is pretty vague. The heroine apparently lost her fiance 5 years ago, but then this new stranger comes into her life. We don't really know much more about that, but I do love JT Geissinger. Every time I read her or listen to her audiobooks, I have a really great time. There are two historical romances I have my eye on this month. One is A Lady's Formula for Love by Elizabeth Everett. The heroine is a scientist. She has her own laboratory. She's created this whole sanctuary for fellow scientists, and she's like some secret agent for the crown, and she ends up falling for her protection officer while she's doing this secret mission for the crown. The other historical romance, which has the most beautiful cover, is The Duke Heist by Erica Ridley. First, I would read this just for the gorgeous cover, and second, I would also read it because there's a freaking heist in this romance. This one sounds so good. We have a heroine who is trying to steal back this painting for her father, and she accidentally also steals the Duke along with it. There's also a new paranormal romance coming out from Sawyer Bennett, who I've only ever read her contemporary romances. I didn't even know she wrote paranormal romances in the past, but she's coming out with this new series. The first in this PNR series is The Revelation of Light and Dark. Apparently there is supposed to be 5 books in this series, but I'm just really intrigued. I love when authors write in different genres, and if I have read and enjoyed the author before, I do try to read those other genres, so I'm looking forward to this one. And then on to all the March new releases. Joanna Shupe, who is one of my favorite authors, has a new release, a new series coming out. The Heiress Hunt is the first book in the Fifth Avenue Rebel series. It's childhood friends to lovers, which I love to read. The hero's family is financially ruined, and he needs to find an heiress to marry. He wants to marry his childhood friend and true love, but she is engaged to a duke. She becomes his matchmaker and instead ends up falling for him. I have Accidentally Engaged by Farrah Heron on my list. Here we have a foodie romance, a baking romance. The main characters end up on this baking / cooking show together. It's a South Asian romance. We have a heroine whose parents want to set her up with her neighbor, who is also her father's employee, but she doesn't want anyone her parents set her up with, but she does ask him for help. In order to get onto that cooking competition show, they have to pretend to be engaged. The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai has the fake engagement trope. The heroine asks her childhood crush, who is also her brother's best friend, to pretend to be her fiance. He was also the one who broke her heart when she was a teenager. I love these tropes. I'm excited to see all of them come together in this book. LJ Shen has her first traditionally published book called The Devil Wears Black. This one is a second chance romance, my favorite trope. I am always a sucker for second chance romances. It's lovers to enemies to lovers, and the hero who broke the heroine's heart now asks her to pretend to be his fiance. There's a debut indie romance that looks so adorable called Sweet Hand by N.G. Peltier. It's an enemies to lovers romance. The heroine is a baker, she's a pastry chef, and she's attending a wedding with a guy that she does not like. She is the maid of honor and he is the best man. So now they're stuck on this island together, and it sounds like so much fun, and I also adore this cover. In April, we're getting so many standalones that I am so excited about. The first one is The Vintage Club by Danielle Laurie. I discovered Danielle Laurie like last month and fell so in love with her books, so I cannot wait for this next book of hers. It's enemies to lovers between a waitress and a real estate tycoon, and they meet at his gentleman's club. We got a little chapter snippet at the end of The Darkest Temptation, and I was already in love with with the story from that one chapter. So my excitement for this book is just through the roof. Sally Thorne is releasing her third book, Second First Impressions, in April. The heroine is a manager at a retirement home and the hero is a new hire. In exchange for helping out around the retirement home, he gets to stay in one of the cottages there. I love Sally Thorne. I love The Hating Game, and I did actually enjoy 99% Mine. I'm just so excited for more quirky romances from her. Rosie Danan's second book, The Intimacy Experiment, is coming out this month and I'm so excited. I love The Roommate. The Intimacy Experiment is a standalone, but it is kind of a spin-off of The Roommate. It follows one of the secondary characters. Naomi is a former porn star who is now a co-founder of this sex-positive startup. The hero is Jewish, he's a rabbi, and the two of them end up doing live seminars together. I am so intrigued by this whole setup between these two characters. I love Rosie Danan. I became a huge fan of hers after The Roommate, so I cannot wait to read this one. Sarah Hogel is releasing her second book this month called Twice Shy. This one is a bit of a home renovation kind of romance. The heroine inherits this manor and she ends up falling for the grumpy groundskeeper. Even though I didn't love her debut, You Deserve Each Other, I'm still gonna read this one. To Love and to Loathe by Martha Waters is a historical romance and it sounds so good. It's enemies to lovers. The main characters are always bickering and now they've made a wager together. The hero needs to marry within a year or the heroine will lose 100 pounds worth of money. In the middle of this, the hero's latest mistress has told him that he has terrible skills in the bedroom, so now he asks the heroine for help with that. I still haven't read her debut though, I'm so behind on everything, but this one just sounds so good. And then this last one for April is a paranormal romance. Gena Showalter is starting a new series, which is great because all her other series that I want to read are so long that I just can't be bothered anymore. The Warlord is the first book in the Rise of the Warlord series. It does connect with the Lords of the Underworld series, which I read a couple books from, and this paranormal romance also has a marriage of convenience. Moving on to all the May romances, Emily Henry, who came out with Beach Read last year and was one of my favorite books last year. She's coming out with a new book, People We Meet on Vacation. It's best friends to lovers. The main characters are complete opposites. They've been best friends since college, except 2 years ago they kind of ruined their friendship. The heroine now wants to go on one last vacation with her best friend slash the guy that she is in love with to try to fix everything. It sounds great. I love friends to lovers. I love Emily Henry, so I'm probably going to be loving this book. We're finally getting Heart and Soul by Frederick this year. It was supposed to be coming out in 2020 but then got pushed back. Here the heroine, who was adopted, she goes to Korea to learn more about her roots and goes through a whole K-drama love story. It sounds great. I've been dying to read it ever since it was announced like long ago, so I'm happy it's finally coming out. May is when we're also getting the new Christina Lauren book, The Soulmate Equation. The heroine is a single mom who's working in the STEM field and she's trying to get back into the dating game. She signs up for this DNA-based matchmaking company and is matched 98% with this guy who she knows and does not like. She doesn't believe he's her soulmate, but the company does offer them money if they try to get to know each other, so now they're forced to work it out. It sounds great, it sounds unique, but I will say, a bit hesitant with Christina Lauren books these days. I did end up enjoying their last book in the holidays, so hopefully I enjoy this one too. June has a couple romances that I am so excited about. First one is Neon Gods by Katee Robert. This is the first book in her Dark Olympus series, which is her Greek mythology retelling series. This first book is a Hades and Persephone retelling, one of my favorite mythology retellings that I just love to read about. I can't really tell if this series is gonna be paranormal or contemporary, but either way, I'm so excited. Lauren Layne is finally releasing a new book in June. It feels like it's been so long since I last read her, but this one is called To Sir with Love. It's a bit like the movie You've Got Mail, where the main characters know each other in real life and hate each other in real life. Online, they meet and fall in love without knowing that they actually don't like each other in real life. Here, the heroine has taken over her father's champagne shop, and the hero is the owner of a company who wants to buy out that store. And what they don't know is that they connect through this blind dating app. Casey McQuiston's second book, One Last Stop, is coming out this month. This one is an FF romance, FF new adult romance, and it's got some time travel. One of the heroines is from the 1970s and she's been stuck in modern day. And there's a debut historical romance coming out this month that sounds fantastic. It's called The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels by India Holton. And the main reason why I want to read this one is that the heroine is a thief and the hero is an assassin. The hero has been ordered to kill the heroine, but he is smitten with her from the moment that he meets her, and now they're working together to try to save the society society that the heroine is a part of. These last few books are for romances releasing in the second half of 2021. There aren't really that many on my TBR. I'm sure I'll be adding a lot more once books are being announced, but this next one is the new Tessa Bailey book. It happened one summer. The heroine is a wild child, but she's gone a little bit out of control at this last party, and now she has been cut off by her stepfather. She's forced to go to this small town in Washington to learn some responsibility and work at a dive bar. The hero is a sea captain and a grumpy one at that. They keep bumping into each other because it is a small town. I always have fun with Tessa Bailey books, so I'm excited about this new standalone. So We Meet Again by Suzanne Park is coming out later this year, and it sounds great. The heroine has started a new YouTube channel. After she quit her investment banking job, she starts this Korean cooking food channel. She goes viral. She and her mom go viral on YouTube. The hero is her pastor's son, and he's also a video game streamer, and he's the one who's been helping out with her YouTube channel. And another foodie romance that I'm excited about, there are quite a few coming out this year, is Battle Royal by Lucy Parker. The heroine was a contestant on this baking show, and the hero, who was a judge, kicked her off. Since then, the heroine has opened up her own bakery, and now the two of them are judges for this new baking show, and they're now competing to bake the best cake for the wedding of a princess. It sounds great. I mean, anytime you have the word baking or baking show in a romance, I'm here for it. I absolutely love the Great British Bake Off, so this book sounds perfect. And this final standalone is the upcoming TJ Klune book. Under the Whispering Door is his next fantasy book. Honestly, the blurb says it all. We have a ghost who refuses to cross over, and the ferryman he falls in love with. So those are all the standalones and upcoming new series that I'm excited to release in 2021. Let me know which ones you're excited about and want to read. I'll link everything down in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!